everyone, my name's Christy. Welcome to my corner. Oh no, I'm not in my corner. Welcome to my mom's craft room. Thanks for joining me today for a Flosstube number unknown. It will be in the title of the show, of the episode. It's been a while. 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks. I have been very busy and I have not been feeling very crafty. So I haven't been watching much Flosstube. I've been watching like actual scripted stuff. Mostly PBS, but still. Yeah, I just lost my stitchy bug. I have been doing a couple things though, so I'll talk about that. And I will, show you what I have to show you, I have some plans. I do have a couple weeks left to go back to work. And I think, well, we'll talk about that later. Before we get to any of that, I want to welcome my new subscribers. I actually have had some new subscribers, so welcome. Thank you for joining me on my crafty and artistic adventures. And welcome back to all my friends who've been with me for however long you've been with me. It's been great to get to know you in the comments here on YouTube and also on Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you can find me in two places. You can find me at Dr._Christy, which is my main Instagram page, which has also been, I've been posting I've been trying to post at least once a week. And then also the Spoolery, which is my homage to vintage wooden spools and vintage sewing paraphernalia. So I'll have more going on in both of those places, hopefully when I get home, and maybe even today, because I have a project start I want to try. And I'm I'm excited about it. I had a gift certificate for Joann's from my birthday 6 months ago, so I got some stuff. This is a channel about embroidery and cross stitch, other textile crafts, and history and the history of all those things. So if any of that is interesting to you and you're not subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe and stick around. I also want to thank my patrons. I have a Patreon if you're interested in history in particular, but also stitching. I'm currently doing a series on witchcraft. I'm a college professor and I teach history, and so I taught a history of witchcraft, medieval and early modern witchcraft in Europe in June. And so I'm basically recreating, I have a hair right here, I'm basically recreating that on Patreon. I'm trying to post once a week, but it's been every other week for the past month or so just because I've been traveling so much. So, but I'm about to put up a new post. I'm almost done with it. I'm excited. And I'm about to put up a new pattern. So anyway, if you're interested in history, in particular at the moment, learning about the history of witchcraft, check out my Patreon. You can find the link in the description box down below. And I really appreciate your support because it lets me do all these really fun things. And it's gotten me designing a lot. I design a pattern for my patrons every month, and that helps me feel connected to the cross-stitch community even when I'm not as active on social media. I'm active on Patreon and I really enjoy it. It keeps me connected and I like that. So I appreciate your support very much. I'll do a life update at the end. Nothing super exciting, just busy, and I might even forget to do it. So let's just dig right into the stitching. I have two projects that I've been working on. One is a new start. In fact, both of them are Patreon patterns. So, and I think both of them are currently available. So if you, not to keep plugging my Patreon, but these are both available on my Patreon. The first one is one that you've been seeing, and it is my Court Jester, which was my May Patreon pattern, and that's him. And he's 3 colors. Well, 4 colors if you include 5 colors if you include white. So he's sort of like 2 main colors, a gold, a dark brown, and then a white. I don't know that I'm going to stitch the white just because I think it looks fine without it. So basically all the places that are light would be stitch white except for the inside here. But I think I'm about 50% done with it maybe. But this is based on a actual blackwork design from a 16th century manuscript, stitching manuscript that I turned into a cross stitch design. And then the border is a whole other thing that I came up with. So, but this, I've been working on this, and I think last time you saw it, if I can find a picture of last time you saw it, I'll put it right here and you'll see how far I've gotten. I actually have done a good bit of work on it. I don't know that I have to show you what it looks like, but I guess I can. I'll show you what it looks like. It looks just like this, only with a full border, basically. So that's the first thing I've been working on. And this is stitched on an unknown aida that I think is like a 16 or 18 count that I got in a color and cotton grab bag. I used to really like those like color and cotton grab bags, those little ones. So I don't know what exactly color it is or count it is, but I thought it would work really well with this. So that's what I'm doing. That's my first one that I've been working on. My second one is a new start, and this is my June Patreon pattern. This is what it's going to look like. It's abracadabra. So abracadabra is actually it's a Roman magical word that when you put it in a triangle like that, and you would write it on a triangle like that, put it on parchment and like wear it, and it was supposed to ward off malaria. So I thought that would be really fun for the beginning of the witchcraft class. It also has other Roman mystical symbols on it. The chickens at the bottom are actually sacred chickens. Yes, they were sacred chickens, and they would be sacrificed, and their entrails would be read by people called haruspices or haruspecs. I'll put that right here. And they were official Roman government prognosticators, essentially. Like, they would read the entrails of chickens as their official job. The kind of upside down staff would normally be the right side up, and that was an augur's staff. And an augur in the Roman world was someone who would look at the flight paths of birds, like the flocks and how birds flew, and interpret them, kind of like interpreting tea leaves and interpreting chicken entrails. And then I have little tiny birds behind it, right? So, but that's the staff that they would use to sort of like mark where they were going, right? And then on the other side, you have stars and planets for the astrologers. All of this was very ancient ways to tell the future, essentially. And I thought that would be a fun beginning of my witchcraft series on Patreon. And I am almost done with the abracadabras. This is done on a sparkly gold. I don't know if you can see. Sparkly gold 14 count aida that I got at Michael's in a tube. I think it was on clearance. So this is nothing special, but I wanted something sparkly. I felt like it was more magical. And I had this in my stash and it was the right size. So that's what I did. And I'm stitching it in 3371 and probably 666, I think, because it made me laugh since it's a witchcraft class. And at this point, they didn't believe that witchcraft and the devil were connected, but still, it makes me laugh. So that's what I have. That's all the stitching that I've done. That's all the stitching I've done, which is why I haven't been, chatting with you much. So I also have a couple other projects in here. I'll show you since I have them here. I have the beginnings of my nuns harvesting phalluses. That's just the bottom of the tree. I haven't worked on it in a long time. And then I also have my Roz Clark Craft Elephantine. Oh, I have my little tiny project bag. I have my Roz Clark Craft Elephantine, which will look like this. And I have an elephant done, but I haven't worked on this in a while either. I should, though. This looks like a 20 count aida. So then this one, the other one's probably a 16 then, because this is much smaller. But anyway, I have an elephant. And that's all I have here. So I guess I just want to talk a bit about plans. I have all these ideas that will hopefully like kickstart my stitching again or my crafting again. I have videos I want to make. I bought a couple tiny little Singer sewing machines, like kids Singer sewing machines from the early 20th century that I kind of want to refurbish and play around with. So I'm going to do a video about those when I get home. And I bought some yarn, some bamboo yarn. I want to make a little sweater. I'm going to start that today, my little sweater. And I think what's going to happen is it's going to be blue and white, and essentially going to be like a giant granny square. So it's going to be a sleeveless. So it's going to be a giant granny square, and then I'll stitch it up around, and I'll stitch the top around. So like that way. So this will be the body of it, this sort of grayish blue. That's actually a pretty good color. Grayish blue and white. And then I'm going to use this as my contrasting color. And I saw someone do something like this on Instagram. So, and I've been thinking about it anyway, because I don't know, I really like granny squares. But what I was doing wasn't effective, because those of you may remember that I was making like a little granny square headband, but I don't wear headbands like that anymore because my hair is so short, so they don't like fit me right. So I never like finished it. I just have a bunch of granny squares. So I figured I will work on this. Now I'm regretting getting this light blue. I should have gotten the dark slate. Oh well, this is what I have. So I'm going to work on this today and start working on granny squares. The other thing I brought with me are my jeans. And you might remember these are my mended jeans. I love them. These are my favorite jeans. But I have a hole, still a small hole, that I want to work on. And I want to work on them with a speed loom, which I've never used before. So Carrie from Carrie and Stitches also has a speed loom. And I'm going to try this out so that she and I can Zoom and mend things together. But basically what it does is it makes a patch. I don't know if you can see, just like that. So it makes a patch, and I think that this is a small enough hole that it will work pretty well, as opposed to like these giant holes. like you put your foot through this hole. But this is like my favorite pair of jeans with this. And then if this works well, I have another pair of jeans that are similar to these that I also want to visibly mend. And that's that plan. I am taking some stuff home with me from here that my mom's getting rid of. There's some vintage patterns that I have sort of this weird idea about that I'm still formulating for art purposes. And there are bag patterns. I'm like crossbody bag, like all these neat bag patterns. And I have vinyl fabric, and I have like, that would be good for bags. And I have not bamboo fabric, cork fabric. That would be really good for like a crossbody bag. So I might play around with that at some point. Yeah, so, and I was planning on saying this is kind of when I stopped myself at the beginning of this, where I'm like, I'll talk about that later. Basically, what I'm finding is that my time management is wrong for my new position. Those of you who are new, like I said, I'm a college professor, but I just became the chair of the department in last August. So I had my first year as chair, and what I'm finding is that my time management is very like how faculty manage time. So it's much looser and more flexible because you have deadlines, but not, I don't know, there's not the administrative aspect of it that has to be done in a certain way in your office at a certain time. So what I was finding all year is that I was just scrambling constantly. As a faculty, what I tend to do is I tend to like really gung-ho during the semester, and then during breaks, I don't work during breaks, or I teach 1 or 2 classes online and it's not a big deal. And so I have time to like do all these projects that I want to do. But I don't think that's going to work anymore because I get a few weeks in July off that I use to visit my family because I don't get vacation time during the semester, so I can't go visit my family during this semester. So I visit them during breaks. But that means I don't have as much time at home during breaks. So I really only have a week, or like 5 or 6 days at home to do all these things I want to do. So I need to start doing them during the semester, right? I need to manage my time better so I'm not completely burnt out at the end, like at the end of the day, at the end of the week, and then I can do these other things that I want to do. So that's kind of what my goal is for this coming year, is to figure out how to manage my time efficiently so I can do the things that I want to do during the semester. Because I just don't have time to do all the things I want to do during breaks. It's just not possible. So I think that this is a really short update. I'm only at 16 minutes. I just have not done very much. I don't have much to say. I think I'll have a much longer video when I get home and I can show you the things that I have bought, but I didn't bring them with me, obviously. I have bought some neat things. I'm going to have a video about my sewing machines, my new vintage sewing machines. I am planning on restoring them and like using them. I have plans for using them. Yeah, I just need to figure out my time management better. So that'll be my plan. I'm here for a little while. My husband's at home. I'm here visiting my family. And then on Wednesday, it's Monday now. On Wednesday, I'm going to go to my dad's house. And then on Friday, my sister-in-law, my sister and I are going to my cousin's bachelorette weekend in Baltimore. And then and then back to my dad's house and then back home on Tuesday. And then I have about 5 days until my contract starts again. So I'm hoping that I can have some time in there to get things done around the house and do some crafting and just like, you know, amp myself up for the new semester. That's the hope. So it sounds like my family just got back from walking the dog, so I'm going to go and I'm going to really hopefully try to be more consistent in my videos. Yeah, I've just been tired. I've been very tired and busy, and I lost my stitchy bug. Anyway, that's where I am, and I hope that you are all well, and I will see you in my next video, which hopefully will be in about a week and a half or so, maybe 2 weeks when I get home. Yeah, and maybe I'll even have a little bit of a sweater to show you. So that'll be fun. Maybe I'll get my stitching bug back because I will actually be rested. That'll be fun. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Thanks so much for joining me. Please take good care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.